Good evening to my favorite people of all time, my best friends, my acquaintances, my pals, my buddies, my loyal fans. All right, I'm a little late to this. I know. I know the rage lately has been maybe some ranked Tarantino movies because Once Upon a Time came out. I know I'm a little late. I'm a little late boarding the ship, but hey, better late than never. So what I'm gonna do is basically list my favorite Tarantino movies. Now, having said that, I have not seen Grindhouse, and I've not seen Kill Bill Volume 2. I do not even own Grindhouse. I do own Kill Bill Volume 2, which I'll show you in a minute. And, well, that'll start the list. Kill Bill Volume 2, that's at the bottom of my list with Grindhouse because I've not seen it. I've seen 1. I really like 1. So, I gotta get around to seeing 2. So, technically, we'll start off the list. Starting now. Coming in at number 7 is a movie I enjoy, but I don't love. I think I need to see it a few more times. It's Reservoir Dogs, Quentin Tarantino's first movie, coming out in 1992. Most of you have seen it that are watching this video. If you're Tarantino fans, you've probably seen this movie. And it's a good movie. I really enjoy it. I just don't love it. I mean, I like the confined setting, but it's almost too confined for me. This is very heavy dialogue, even more so than like Pulp Fiction and even more so than Hateful Eight. Very heavy dialogue and very confined setting, which I do enjoy, but to an extent, you know, I don't know. I could use a little bit more, but there's a few twists and turns in here that really make it great. Michael Madsen's performance, I mean, man, he is just nuts. You know, he's cutting people's ears off left and right. Not really, just left. Not really right, I think. But, yeah, I mean, this was the start. This was the first Tarantino movie. This was going to be an ongoing cast. You had, you know, Harvey Keitel and Steve Buscemi, and Tarantino, of course, is in here. Not long, but he's in here. And, you know, others. It's a good starting point for Tarantino. It's very Tarantino-esque. So I do recommend it if you've not seen it. If you've not seen it. If you've not seen it. Number 6. It is The Hateful Eight. Another movie I really enjoy. I think it's a little too long. And could have been shortened a little bit. But, this is another very dialogue heavy and a confined space, but it's not completely confined like Reservoir is. And I mean, it is, but it isn't. You know, there's just more going on. I'm more into these characters. I'm more invested in these characters and wanting. It's basically Clue, like a Western version of Clue, and all these characters are together. To where in Reservoir Dogs, they're not really all together. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, doesn't matter. I mean, to each their own. Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, Bruce Dern, Channing Tatum. Yeah, believe it or not, Channing Tatum. But like I said, basically a Clue in the Wild West. Set in a cabin setting, and some people are up to some no good, and Samuel L. Jackson is sniffing it out. He's sniffing it out. Great movie. The cinematography is great. I believe, oh gosh, I don't know how to say it. Ennio Morricone. I'm not exactly sure how to say his name, so, you know, butcher me in the comments. I don't really care. I believe he won the Oscar for the score in here. I mean, he's dating back to Good, Bad, and Ugly, and you got him on board for this. Thumbs up for that, Quentin. Thumbs up for that. Great movie. Coming in at number 5. It is Inglourious Bastards. Now, this is a war movie, but it's not really like a war movie. It's not like Battle of the Bulge out here. It's not like, you know, they're storming the beaches of Normandy. It's basically boils down to a plot to kill Hitler. And watching this plot get carried out. If things would have happened like this, that would have been crazy. It would have been epic. Great, but things didn't end like that. Hitler took the coward's way out, and we didn't have the glory of, you know, burning him alive in a movie theater. There, I said it. If you haven't seen it, oh freaking well. I mean, what are you doing watching this video, really? But no, coming out in 2009, starring Brad Pitt, Christoph Waltz, Michael Fassbender, you know, others. Really good. Really, I love, like, the crew of these Nazi killers. You got the Bear Jew, and you got Brad Pitt, Buongiorno, Mr. Can't Speak Italian, but thinks he can speak Italian. But no, everything that, you know, builds up to this moment in the movie theater it's great. It's great. I love it. There's a lot of tension filled part, especially the opening in here. Man, that's probably one of the most tense Quentin Tarantino movie scenes of all time. It really is. Christoph Waltz plays an excellent villain, as only Christoph Waltz can in here. But yeah, a lot of tension scenes in here. A really good movie. Okay, we're moving right along, guys. We're moving right along. I didn't want to keep this too long for you. So, if you want me to do an in-depth review on one of these movies, I probably never will, but you can ask me to. I don't know. I'm just not huge into doing reviews, you know. If I do reviews, I like to make them like a fun type of thing, like a movie night or a, you know, something like that. All right, coming in at number 4. It's 2003, I believe, Kill Bill, starring Uma Thurman. Whoa. Okay, this is a great movie. It's over the top at places, but that's what really makes this movie. You know, I mean, Uma Thurman, she's awesome in here. This is a great movie, once again, by Quentin Tarantino. And, you know, it's just the story of... Now, I've not seen the second one, so I can't delve too into it. I don't know what happens in the second one. But in this one, basically, everybody's murdered at her wedding. And, yeah, and she was almost murdered by Bill's, you know, henchman. Basically, she's just on a warpath to kill everybody involved, and she ends up doing pretty much so. I love the scene whenever the Crazy 88s, and I don't remember Lucy Liu's character in here. I don't remember her name, but whenever they, like, wrap around the corner and it's playing like that, dun dun dun, dun dun dun. Yeah, that was great. That was great. I don't know if you remember that, but I'm sure you do if you've seen the movie. That was a great scene. I'm trying to keep it moving. I'm trying to keep it moving. Coming in at number 3, it's Pulp Fiction. I know a lot of you will probably have this at number 1 on your list, and that's fine. This is probably the most important Quentin Tarantino movie. This is the breakthrough Tarantino movie. This is every Tarantino-esque thing bottled into one movie. It's really lightning in a bottle, but then again it's not, because he continues to make great films. So, it is lightning in a bottle, but he does it all the time, so you know what I'm saying. Coming out in 1994, starring, you know, the usuals. Uma Thurman, Samuel L. Jackson, Harvey Keitel. John Travolta's great in here. This really revived his career, I believe, for the 90s, and set him on a good path, you know, at least for that decade, and early into the 2000s. You know, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. They don't all go, you know, together as a typical movie would, though. Everything comes full circle in this movie, and it's great. I really do like it. There's a few scenes or, you know, chapters that aren't as interesting to me as others are. I really love the Uma Thurman, John Travolta chapter. I love the ending, of course. And the Bruce Willis and his girlfriend, not so much. She kind of annoys me. She's always wanting pancakes or French pancakes or whatever she wants. You know, whatever with her. But other than that, great movie. Coming in at number 2, it's Django. Have you ever... No, seriously, Django. This movie is great. This is a great movie. I'm glad I got this steelbook at Target, the Target exclusive steelbook. Who do you got in here? You got the usuals: Christoph Waltz, Samuel L. Jackson, Jamie Foxx, Leonardo DiCaprio. This is this is a Western. This is a great modern Western. And just to see, I love Leonardo DiCaprio. He plays an ex-villain in here. And basically, Jamie Foxx is a freed slave. And he's on the warpath to find his wife, who was a slave, and she's in Candyland. Leonardo DiCaprio is in charge of, he runs Candyland. You know, it's just a Western epic. There's not, I don't know what else to say about it. I'm sure you've seen this. I'm sure you've seen it. So you know yourselves. Great score, soundtrack, great acting all around. The cinematography in here is just great. I mean, this has a feel of like an epic movie at some parts. And at some part, it's very enclosed. And, you know, the typical dialogue that you hear in Tarantino movies is brought out. I give this movie a 10 out of 10. I can rewatch this movie, and it has some hilarious scenes in it, especially with like Jonah Hill and Don Johnson when they got the bags over their head and they can't see what they're doing, but they're trying to raid. That's classic stuff. Classic stuff. And my number one Tarantino film. Maybe not everybody will agree on this. I don't own it because it's not been released yet. It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Released, of course, this year. That is my favorite Tarantino movie probably of all time. I struggled with that and Django for a little while, but I think it's, Once Upon a Time lays heavily more on my mind than Django. I love the setting. I love the period piece. I love that he brings out the late 1960s. Anything vintage like that. I'm a really sucker for 80s, but I love 60s, 70s also. And he really, you know, throws out that Hollywood late 60s. The late 60s, the 60s, it was a turning point for Hollywood, I would say. You know, it's presented in the movie very well. The 50s, you had like these Western stars. The 60s was a point of experimentation, I guess you would say, and that hit Hollywood. Things are changing. Things are changing. Not all the actors are changing with it, though. Some are getting left behind. Some aren't. As you see, Steve McQueen, he moves on. Rick Dalton, he's having trouble moving on to the next chapter, which is the 60s. And that's just one part of the movie. You also have, as a bonus, is the Charles Manson Sharon Tate murders. That's not the movie, though. That's just a bonus of the movie. And the lengths to go through to keep Sharon Tate safe in this movie. I don't want to ruin anything because it is so new, so I know some of you have probably not seen this. So let's just say everything you want to happen happens. If these two characters would have been non-fictional characters, things would have happened differently in the world in 1969 Hollywood regarding Charles Manson and Sharon Tate. But yeah, perfect movie, 10 out of 10 for me. Great soundtrack. Once again, the movie looks great. I saw it in the theaters. I want to see it again. Hopefully I'll get around to doing it. I don't know if I will or not. But I've heard people say, this is it's too slow at parts. It's too much to do with nothing. I disagree completely. It didn't have to be quite as long. I agree. But overall, I was interested in the whole thing. I really was. So, with having said that, let me know down below in the comments what your favorite Tarantino movie is. What's your top? What has he got? 9, 10, 9 if you include Kill Bill 1 and 2 together. So yeah, let me know. Let me know your least favorite. I didn't want to include like From Dusk Till Dawn and Natural Born Killers on here and all that, because I've not seen all those. I've seen From Dusk Till Dawn, but not Natural Born and True Romance. So yeah. But that's my list. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you did. But most importantly, though, you know what I'm going to say. Go catch a flick.